Hello, my name is Amy and I would like to do a vlog today and would like you to come with me for things I'm doing to prepare for Christmas. So I am 22 years old and I wanted to do YouTube for some time. Actually, since I was a little child when I saw some children play on YouTube with small toys. So I also wanted to do that at that time, but I've never ever had the courage to it. And now I want to, really want to, and really have the courage. I still have a difficulty of finding time for it, but these videos are not going to be the best quality. They're filmed on my iPhone 12. They're not going to be best audio, and it's not going to be the best of all, but I hope you would like to watch these videos and want to look at what I do and kind of keep in touch and just want to make a channel and would love to show people what I do. I love baking, I love making stuff, and I love traveling when I got the money for it. So yeah, so there's gonna be some videos here about my life and about stuff in the real world, and also some talk about stuff I find good, bad, and you can always write in the comments some comments, hopefully nice ones, what you think, what video ideas, anything. This channel is going to be about gaming because I love playing games, and it's going to be about baking. It's going to be about vlogging, everyday stuff, opinions, all sorts of things. And just to give a quick summary, I'm 22, as I already said. I'm a woman. My name is Amy and I live in Denmark. I'm half Danish, half English. My mother lives in England. The rest of my Danish family lives here in Denmark. What else? I'm a pastry chef and a chocolatier. Culinary school, but pastry chef school here in Denmark. And I've also been to chocolatier school, which is where you learn about more focused elements about chocolate and stuff. So I love doing mousse cakes. I love doing cakes with buttercream. Not the best at those with buttercream yet, because they're not the ones we specialize here in Denmark, but it's more mousse cakes and cream cakes and whipped cream. And I just love trying new things. I am really bad at doing the same things over and over again, so routines are not my friend. Obviously jobs have stuff we have to do over and over again, so I can obviously do that, but when I want to bake something, I love doing new things. And I found out that doing new things, you're not always amazing at it, even though you're a pastry chef. Not only how to make specific cakes, but also watch me try them out, because it's actually also difficult even if you're a professional to do new things. So those kind of videos are gonna come, so I hope you would love to watch and join. Oh yeah, and I bought a house, live in a house, very messy right now, but it's probably gonna be a video about that. I have 2 cats, so that I adopted I think last week, and yeah, and I have a boyfriend that I live with. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff. And last thing about me, I am very outgoing, but also very shy at times. So that's a difficult combination. I've always been shy when I was little, and then I kind of tried to get away from that, and then people didn't even know I was a shy kind of type of person, and now it's I still have this little thing about talking to a camera and wanting to do a YouTube, and I just want to hide it. I'm not gonna tell anyone I know, and it's just, I hope this is gonna be good. So, but now let's get to the vlog. Sorry for rambling, but I just thought it would be kind of good to do a little get to know. So today is going to be about a little bit about baking, and it's Christmas soon, and it's the 27th of November, and I am off today from work because I work this Saturday instead. So today I thought I would do some things and I would get some stuff done before Christmas. And one of the things, which is the first thing, is I'm going to do some truffle balls that I kind of invented. I don't need a recipe for this because it's basically go go on as you please. What I did was I got some cakes. Like I've made a lot of cake, like brownies, blondies, everything. And now when you cut them out, and there's gonna be like all the extra cake you don't need, and you're not supposed to sit there and eat it all. Well, I'm not supposed to. So when I've had some and I'm like, okay, now I can throw it out, it's a real bad thing to throw stuff out. So these kind of things we can kind of recycle in a way and make truffle balls out of them. So what I did was I took all the kind of like extra cakes that I had every time I had it and put it in the freezer. Now I've gathered enough to make truffle balls that I'm going to make for Christmas. I'm going to be making them, making like the dough, and I'm going to be rolling them out and rolling them in coconut, and then I'm going to put them in the freezer again, so they're ready to take, like just to take out of the freezer, and then they're gonna be, you know, all done. So I'm going to show you my progress. Yesterday I took all the cake mixes I had and everything that was just like, you know, extra stuff that I didn't use, and then I took that out of the freezer and let it thaw, and then I mixed on the mixer. So this is the dough. I don't think it looks good, but some people might think it does. It's basically blondie, brownie, hazelnut like crunch I've had inside of a cake. So that's what the small pieces are. It's like small hazelnut pieces, and it's also some other kind of like sponge cakes in there, with also some like chai buttercream sponge cake thing I had going on with some orange, which is totally fine because it's gonna be a bit like Christmassy, and chai does have some like kind of like spices, so which is okay, and it's not gonna be overwhelming at all. So these are the ingredients I'm going to be using for the truffle balls. Some orange, I think only orange peel for like 1, 2, maybe 3 oranges. Then I'm going to be using, and I'm sorry, I probably can't say this, but contre, which is like this kind of like orange liquor. So this is going to be like a grown-up truffle ball kind of thing, just if any children are watching. So contre, which is an alcohol, and it's an orange alcohol. You can also use Grand Marnier, but contre is the one I have. So and Grand Marnier is more like a darker kind of flavor, while contre is more like a orange flavor, is what I read on the internet. So I think that's going to be fine. Then I'm going to use Bailey. The one I have is my favorite, which is Bailey Espresso. And I already wanted it to already have some kind of like coffee flavor. So it's kind of nice that I already have a Bailey Espresso instead of just a Bailey. So we're going to put this in. Sorry, I'm bad at filming. We're going to put this in, and hopefully it's going to be enough coffee, and otherwise I'll just grind some coffee beans and make a little espresso and put that in as well. But we're going to try this out. Then I'm going to be using this Seotume, 70% chocolate, and it's just the 70% I have. It's cacao beans only from the Seotume area here in Africa, and it has a specific flavor that I cannot explain, but it's really good. But to balance it out, I'm also going to use this 57.9% chocolate, and they're both from the brand Callebaut. I don't know how to say it, but it's Belgium. And yeah, so I've always been using these chocolates because they're both kind of affordable and still good, and have a big range of different kind of flavors. So, and this is like a very pastry chef thing, just saying. It's very like pastry chefy to have chocolates of all different kinds, and chocolatier kind of person to have all these things. So is if you don't have this at home, you can just always buy like a 70% chocolate and like a milder dark chocolate, but or the other, like the kind of chocolate you want. I just want to mix these two because I want it to be a bit like, you know, bitter, a bit like orange, a bit like express, like very deep in the flavors, but at the same time needs to balance it out with another kind of dark chocolate to make it a little lighter. So we're gonna try and add this. So now I am zesting the oranges. It's very important not to take the white part, but only like the orange parts. Otherwise it's not gonna taste good. So it's just keeping an eye on not taking the white part. And I'm just gonna try out the flavors as I go and taste it while I go to see how it's going to be, if it needs more of this, needs more of that, stuff like that. The thing with oranges is they are not that flavorful. Oranges on its own have a lot of flavor, but in baking, when you use real oranges, not add flavors, you know, like fake flavors kind of things, real oranges don't really have that much flavor and really quick can be canceled out by other flavors. So what I'm gonna do is just taste along. I'm not using the juice because, funny enough, the peel is what have the most flavor. The juices actually don't add that much. What you can do is take the juices out and put it in a saucepan or something and then boil it for some time, because then the water will go away. I don't really have the proper English terms for it, sorry, but the water will go away and then you are left with a lot of flavor. So you could do that, but I don't think I'm going to do that. And maybe this inspires someone out there that's not professional or professional to try it out and just have a bunch of like cake scrap and put it in the freezer, and when you have enough, make your own little truffle balls. What we do in Denmark in the bakeries is that we make romkugler. And I'm sorry you can't see me, but I don't know how to film this otherwise. So we make something called romkugler, which I do not like. And the reason why I don't like it is because in the bakeries, they don't use real rum. And yes, I can say this because I worked in a bakery as well. My table's not long enough for you to see me, but yeah, so we make romkugler, and I don't like the ones in the bakery. What they do is, in Denmark we have a lot of what you call Danish pastry in some countries, but what we obviously just call wienerbrød. And we have a lot of wienerbrød, and when it doesn't get sold, they put it in the freezer. When they have enough, they mix it all up, and like I just did, but I had cake, not wienerbrød, and then they put in rum essence, and they put in cacao powder, and they put in marmalade. And if you're in a really bad bakery, I have been in a bakery where it was an old man who ran it. He was not nice, but at least what he made was good. And he put raspberry marmalade in and the other things I said, and then someone else overtook the bakery after him, and I still worked there as a student, and he put water in instead of marmalade. He just poured water in it. No respect for the bakery. So yeah, but the reason why I don't usually like it is mainly because of the essence, and also because in the bakeries they don't just put wienerbrød in. And wienerbrød is like laminated dough, you know, Danish pastry. Obviously baked. But they don't just put that in, they also put everything in. Like everything. A lot of them put carrot cake in it, like just everything. And it's not always that everything goes with everything, if that makes sense. So the flavor is not for me, but if you make it at home, it's good. So what you would do is, if you don't have like scrap from like other cakes, I think it's called scrap. You can always also make truffle balls, like other truffle balls like these. If you bake like a chocolate cake or a brownie, in my opinion, it's not worth it, but it depends on what you think, obviously. And then you just take that, and then when it's like baked, you mix it up, like here, and then you would add the things, and it's gonna taste so good because it's like a brownie or a chocolate cake, and it's not everything like just everything they had in the bakery, like old bread and stuff. Like not everything tastes good in it, but not all bakeries know that. Some bakeries probably do. Not shaming everyone, just someone. But yeah. But what you would do really is, I've had good romkugler before, and that's the place I worked in, and they used they had like very good scrap cakes, like brownies and stuff. And then they would put in real rum, obviously, as you should. And then they would put in cacao powder and chocolate, and it would just taste so rich. And then you would roll it when they're like all cold and hard. You would dip them in chocolate and you would roll them in coconut or sprinkles. I would obviously choose coconut. I feel like sprinkles don't taste good, but again, that's just an opinion. And it's probably not your opinion, so we're all open on this channel for opinions. Yeah, so, but we're doing kind of that today, but we're using some different alcohols, and you can also do without alcohol. It's basically, you know, like cake pops and stuff, just without the stick. And I would like this to be like a fast, kind of like fun thing to do. So yeah, so that's why I'm not making a cake pop and drawing tiny elves. I'm just gonna roll them in coconut. So it's gonna be small snowballs. Okay, so now I added the orange peel, and then we're gonna add a little bit of contra. We're just gonna go tiny bit, because we can never take away, but we can always put more in. And some Bailey, like that. And then we're gonna mix. Okay, so I ended up putting the dough in the fridge so it could set. And I put extra Bailey in it and Contrao, like the orange liquor. I put one extra orange zest in it, and I also put cacao powder in it to make it a little more dry because it was becoming wet. Put chocolate, you know, all the sorts of things for like, I kept tasting, being like, oh, it needs more of this and that, so it's really like up to you. And also, if you don't want to put alcohol in it and you love like coffee and stuff, you can still do this and put hazelnut and coffee in it, and an orange zest. So obviously it's just me that wants alcohol, and that's totally fine. So now I have lined out a tray of coconut, and I just took what I had in the cupboard. I had big shreds of coconut, and I had this kind of like fine grinded coconut flour, and I think these are gonna look more like snowballs, but I don't have a lot of each, so I think I'm gonna mix it. And I mean, snow is not perfect, you know, so it'll probably be fine mixing these two in a bowl. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do now. So mixing with this way, coconut like flour in a way, and coconut shreds. And it's funny because this one's more yellow and the other one's more white, so I think it's gonna look quite good. And they're not gonna look very professional, they're not gonna look like anything like that, but they're gonna taste amazing. And obviously I could use some time on making them very professional looking, dipping them in tempered chocolate, decorating them. And yes, that is a fun idea, but I also want something where I could just easily do it, you know, fast. So, and simple is good too. And also snowballs don't have a specific look, so it's gonna be okay. So what I'm gonna take is the dough, and this dough is very like fatty, I realized, because there is a lot of like fat from all of the kind of butters and chocolates and all the different things. So I'm just gonna try and avoid the places where some fat has set. And then you can already see on my hands, and then I'm just gonna roll them. And obviously I've washed my hands, and this for me is too big. It's like kind of a small romkugle size, and I would like truffle balls, so I would like them to be like you could eat 3 of them instead of only 1. So I would rather, and that's just my opinion, have small kind of like truffle balls like that, instead of like one big one. And I'm always on the kind of thing where my dad, he said småt er godt, which means like small is good. Is just funny in Danish because it rhymes. Småt er godt. So, but it's just a thing we say because like small things in life, small things to eat is usually better because there's so much flavor enhanced in it, and you can have more of it instead of having one big ball. So yeah, what I'm doing, oh, it's quite nice. You can see through. I didn't even think about that. I only thought about the size. So I'm just gonna take some of the dough, roll in tiny balls, very easily. If you want to, you can use gloves, but I mean, I'm a pastry chef and we don't use gloves, so I'm okay with being a little messy. Obviously, as I said before, we obviously wash our hands thoroughly with soap and water and what not to like, so obviously you do that. I don't even know if I have to explain that to people, but I've heard some people don't wash their hands and I'm, oh, so that's that's not good. So what I'm gonna do is just do this, and basically when I want to, I could roll them like this, and then you'll get like small snowballs, or you can just take and do this, but then you get all greasy with, not greasy, but you get all coconutty. So it's really up to you. You could also leave one hand for rolling and one for this, but I'm just gonna do this, and then you'll end up with a small snowball like that. Looks good. And you can put them in a ball on like a plate, and it's gonna be nice for Christmas. And then you can just tell your family, oh look, I made small snowballs. And yes, you could put alcohol in it, you could put different flavors, you could not put alcohol in, like you could do whatever you want. I just wanted to show like a quick and easy thing to do, and a way to use all your cake scrap. That, like, the only thing I bought for this, because I already had Contrail, I already had Bailey, I already found this coconut, and I already had the cake. So the only thing I actually bought in the supermarket was oranges, because I thought it'd be nice to have a bit of orange zest in there. But it's really up to you, and I was thinking, like, if I didn't have enough coconut, I could take some cacao powder and do the same like this, and then roll it in cacao powder. So it's really up to you. I just thought this would be good. And I'm excited to taste them, because I've tasted them like a dough, but when it's a complete thing, that's gonna be amazing. So simple as that. And so we're gonna refrigerate them or freeze them. If you're gonna use them, example, tomorrow in 2 days, you can just put them in the fridge. But what I like to do is freeze them individually on a plate. When they're fully frozen, I can put them in a box that is like a plastic container, which is really closed and really good to like seal in everything, so it doesn't taste like freezer and it doesn't get dull. And then what I'm gonna do is that it's November now, like late November. I'm gonna put in the freezer, freeze them individually, pack them together when they're fully frozen, and then I'm going to take them out the day before Christmas, put them in the fridge, because then they thaw lightly, and then when I have them, we can all enjoy them. And I think people like them. And I'm also probably gonna give some to my grandma, because I have way more than I thought I would. I could also have taken this dough and separated into 2 different doughs before I put the flavors in it, and then I could have done a rum one and the other one, but I'm just tired of rum rum cola, because it's just the same all the time. So I wanted to try something different they don't sell in the shops, and this is it. So I'm gonna be making these, and then we're gonna go to the next thing. In a minute, we're going to make one of my most favorite Danish Christmas biscuits, cookies, whatever you call them. We call them smørkager. Smørkager means small cakes. So it's basically, in English, a biscuit, and maybe in American, like a cookie that's tiny. And smørkager are a staple for Danish Christmas. And this one is, if not the most, it's definitely, I would say, top 3 of the most Christmassy smørkager ever in Denmark. So this one is called Vaniljekranse. 1 vaniljekranse, flere vaniljekranse, multiple vaniljekranse. And this recipe is my grandma's very own recipe. And I asked for it yesterday, and she was like, oh, this time your oldest uncle was born, I made, and then I was like, oh, this is such a cute story. So I'm gonna write that down, but it's a very, very old recipe from my grandma. Some people make them without almonds, but my grandma makes them with, and that's way better. So I've been in bakeries where they use margarine. Does not taste as good. So what we're gonna do is use a real vanilla bean, obviously, You can also use essence, you can also use vanilla sugar, but this, in my opinion, if you want a biscuit tasting nearly purely of vanilla, you must go for the best you can. Obviously, I'm not buying one of those very, very expensive vanillas, but there is 2 in here, and you should try and get the thickest ones you can. So we're doing a double recipe of my grandma's, so therefore I need 2. And it's amazing, in my opinion. And my whole family loves it, and now it has been given to me, so I'm gonna give it to you. I've asked my grandma, she doesn't give a about like showing other people recipes. She's totally fine with it. She's like the coolest. So if you want to make this, it's a very, very nice recipe for a simple yet good recipe for småkager, for a Danish Christmas ones. They are small and round with a hole in the middle, so they look like a krans. That's why they're called krans. Vaniljekranse, vanilla krans. I don't know what you say, wreath, vanilla wreath biscuits. Danish Christmas vanilla wreath biscuits, I think you would call them. And so it's like this kind of like round thing with small kind of lines, so it looks like one of those you can hang. You can put them on the Christmas tree actually, but I would just normally put them in a good tin and then just eat them. So yeah, so we're gonna make those. You have to do is put your almonds in a bowl, boil some water and pour over. This water looks disgusting, but it's because there's been boiling water over these almonds. So you have to be able to do this with them to get out all the things. Obviously I'm not doing it in this bowl, I'm gonna do it in another bowl. Then I'm going to just pour a little water over it to remove all this dirt. And then you will have these nice almonds without the shell. You can also buy them without the shell. And you're not supposed to roast them, so don't roast them, but they're supposed to dry so it doesn't get wet. So first you have to boil water, pour over some almonds if they have skin on them, and then I think it's called de-skin them. And the funny thing is, in Danish we say smutte, and smutte also means to quickly or hurry away. So it's kind of funny to smut an almond. An almond in Danish is mandel, so you would kind of like actually do what they do. Jeg smutter mandler. Well, that one just shot all the way over here. Yeah, so that's kind of basically when you hurry away, kind of, or yeah. So that's probably why it's called that, and if that's not the reason, I don't understand. So yes, but you have to do that first and then let them dry out of the water. Now what I did was I chopped up all the almonds, and first I started chopping them up, then I gave up, and then I just grinded them. So but they're supposed to look kind of like this, because they're supposed to also go through a star tip, so that's why they can't be too chunky. These are the Snowball truffles that we made, and I'm just leaving them in these kind of containers in the freezer and then take them out when I need them. And they turn out like this, and I feel like this is a very nice size. You can do smaller, you can do bigger, whatever. So yeah, how they look inside. They are really, really good and really tasty. Very alcoholic. But if you like that, they're really good. We are going to take our vanilla bean pods, and we scaled 500 grams of sugar. We're making a big portion, that's why we're using 2 vanilla bean pods and 500 grams of sugar. So we take some of the sugar out like this, and then what I do is, let's see if I can get a better angle, like this. I cut the ends off, take them out, cut a bit of the ends off, not too much. It's just so it's easier to open them, like that. Then I open them up, so you can either just cut halfway through or fully through. For easier and faster, I just try and open them up by cutting fully through. So like that, and then again, and then follow the kind of the beans way to sway like that. Now we have opened them up. What I do is I scrape it out. So I try to open it a bit up and I scrape out the bean, and then you got it like this. This is literally black gold right here. It's amazing. And if you really, I don't think my camera can focus like this, but it can really look amazing. I don't even know if it can, but if you zoom in, it's small black dots, and it just looks good if you love vanilla. So what you do is you put it in some of the sugar like this and mush it into the sugar, and so it kind of separates the vanilla beans, and in that way you easily get it mixed properly into the dough, so the whole dough fully gets vanilla bean. Because vanilla bean is very like thick and very good at like clumping together, so this is just to get the full flavor out of it, so working it into the sugar. And we're just going to do that with all of them, and then we're going to add this sugar back into the other sugar. Take your vanilla bean pods out under any circumstances. Do not throw them out. There's so much more flavor in these vanilla bean pods, and they still contain vanilla beans. So what you do is you can put them in a closed container and let them dry out like I have with these, and then you can blend them with sugar and make your own kind of vanilla sugar. Yes, this is edible, and you can just blend this with sugar when it's fully dry and can store it and make like a vanilla sugar that you can add into your cakes and everything. Or you can keep them to put when you make like a vanilla cream or custard. You can put a bean in it and then cook it with the custard, and then take them out when the custard's fully done, and then all of the beans will have emulsified into the custard. So do not throw these out. Obviously throw them out if you've used them in custard, but if you've just emptied them out, keep it. In a big mixing bowl, I have put 1,000 grams of flour, 1 kilo, and the reason for this is, again, it's a big portion. You can always make half a portion, but I like to have a lot of Vaniljekranse for my family. So yeah, 1 kilo, 1,000 grams of flour, 740 grams of butter, I'll put in there, 500 grams of sugar and the vanilla, 400 grams of finely chopped almonds. Not like that, when it wants to come out. It's difficult with one hand, okay? Don't judge. 4 drops of almond essence. 1, 2, 3, 4 ish. 4-ish drops. And it's very strong, remember that. And my grandma said you can leave it out, but it's to make the flavor even more almondy and better. But again, it's only a little bit, so it just helps with the flavors. Going to mix it on low speed, and it was important to notice that the butter is not ice cold, but it's not soft and soggy. So we're just gonna let the machine hopefully mix it, and then we also have to add 2 eggs, but I'm just gonna let it mix a little bit. And you can also overmix it, so it should only be just mixed, not more than just mixed. Like obviously properly mixed, but not more than just mixed. So I can see it's going fine, so I'm gonna add 2 eggs. With making these Vaniljekranse on it, that it's too difficult to pipe on because the dough just follows and it's gonna look like this little poop. So that's not what you want. So what you also normally would do, you wouldn't pipe it from this. You would use the machine like I said, but what you do in the bakery is you use a big machine to push out the dough. So you would do kind of lines like this. Make multiple lines and you will line them up. Obviously it breaks a little right now. You can always kind of stick them together, but then you would try and line them up, and then you would cut small segments, and then when you've done that, you would take your dough like this, and remember I only have one hand right now, but then you would kind of like mush them together and then try not to destroy the shape of it, and then you will still get these small biscuits like so. When you've got some of these that you obviously make with two hands, so it's gonna look like this and not like that, you place them with a little space. So you would go like one line and then in between the holes and in between those holes like so, and then you will bake them at 180 degrees Celsius for 12 to 14 minutes, depending on how brown you want them. I made some over here, and these were a test. I tried to pipe directly on the pan and it looked like this, which is not the look we're going for because there won't be the real rings. And these look a little weird because I was really trying to figure out how I wanted to do this dough, because again, normally you would do it on the machine. So therefore, this is the easiest way: piping lines, cutting through, making all the round circles, and then putting them on the pan. And then you should get something like this, but a little smaller perhaps, but it depends on what size you want them. If you want them bigger, you just cut them like that, you know. If you want them thicker, you press and not pull for too long. If you want them thinner, you will pull a bit, but be careful it doesn't break. And I am using a star tip, and I also taped it because of the nozzle kept coming out, so I had a little stress with this, but it's looking good. And now the oven's beeping. I tried to give these a little more, and I feel like, oops, sorry, that this is the right amount for my oven. All ovens are different, remember that. So this is 180 degrees for 14 minutes for my oven, and this is 180 degrees for 12 minutes. So again, depends on how brown you want them. They're supposed to be golden brown, so that's like on you. This is how they turned out. In my opinion, this is the perfect color, perfect shape, perfect size-ish. Not that one, but otherwise, you know, I did my best. And they do grow, so just keep that in mind. And as again, line them, and then in between the holes, line the next row, in between those holes, line the next row, so they won't grow together that much. But this is the Vaniljekranse we have in Denmark. The vanilla wreath, I believe it's called in English, with almonds, and you can even see tiny bits of vanilla bean in there, and they taste amazing. Hi, 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 hi. He's been a little annoyed today because I've been baking instead of petting him. Hi, this is Pinky. His name is Pinky because he's got pink ears. Ja, du har lige så røde ører. Ej, hvor er du fin. I don't know why he tries to touch me. I got baking fingers. You don't want to touch me. No, you do not want to touch me. Uh-oh. He's just probably saying hi to you guys. Oh, hi. Ah. Hi, guys. Hi. Hi. And this is Teddy. Hi, Teddy. He's a boy as well. Very tiger stripy. Yes, that's the end of the vlog. I hope you wanted to watch this. I'm gonna make some different Christmas stuff, and I think I'm gonna film it, and hopefully you'll join me watch the videos, and just, I don't know, comment down below what you like to bake for Christmas, or what you want to make for snacks, or what your family traditions are. Anything like baking biscuits or making truffle balls, or anything you guys do as a tradition or a new thing you want to try out. Let me know if you try the recipe, and yeah, let's see you next time. End of today's vlog. Thank you for watching. I know it was a long video, but I hope you watched it while doing other stuff, because I love watching long vlogs while doing other stuff. That was my cat saying hello. Hi. Hi.